Okay, sketchy weather today. They say it's gonna rain and my phone actually died. So I actually left it in the shop currently. Hopefully it's not gonna be too much anyways. I think it's just a battery, but I guess we'll see. With that in mind, what did I read today? How about this first one? More about police using drones to track criminals. This one here says, police drone tracks Walmart theft suspect in real time. Is that how some police departments are nowadays? You can see someone just in the office, for example, monitoring the whole map, I guess, controlling drones potentially. Kind of reminds me of what you see with drone delivery companies. It says a California police department's drone program helped officers track down and arrest a suspected repeat shoplifter who attempted to flee on a stolen bicycle Tuesday morning and might otherwise have gotten away, officials said. The incident happened in a Walmart in Clovis, California, where police were called just after 8 a.m. for a known shoplifting suspect. The department's drone first responder program proved crucial in the arrest, officials said. It says, quote, the suspect at Walmart stole a bicycle from inside the store, which the staff thought he would, and he took off on that bike. The suspect, identified by police as 19-year-old Sean Baker, was tracked by the drone as he crossed a nearby street. He now faces charges including shoplifting, possession of burglary tools, and obstructing an officer, according to police. Yeah, so they'll probably advertise that more in terms of police, I guess, using drones to, I guess, let people know that it's helping them arrest criminals and all that. Does that make people more comfortable, I suppose, with officials using drones in these ways? I'm wondering from this, though, from a lot of the pictures, whether or not the person behind the monitor there is actually helping to control it, or is it just to assess the situation, for example? I guess stuff like this would create new positions in a police force around the world, huh? Dedicated drone teams and all that. And with that, a lot of countries still trying to find ways to defend against drones. And how about this one? It says, EU launches drone wall to detect and destroy. There was a lot of news about this stuff actually over the past couple of days, but I guess they're making it official and all that. It says the European Union has formally launched an initiative to establish a drone wall along the bloc's eastern flank, a groundbreaking step being taken amid alarming violations of airspace at the hands of Russia. The inaugural meeting of the project took place on Friday afternoon and brought together 10 member states: Bulgaria, Denmark, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and Finland. It's kind of interesting as they say they also invited Ukraine in the discussion, and it says the drone wall would be one of 3 pillars of a broader eastern flank watch, with the other 2 being a ground wall and a maritime wall, he explained. And it says here the European Commissioner for Defense was describing how the drone wall would have twofold purposes, saying here, detection and intervention, with immediate priority put on the first, saying, quote, definitely we need to look into effective means of how to destroy. The drone wall would be one of the 3 pillars of a broader eastern flank watch, with the other 2 being a ground wall and a maritime wall, he explained. I'm not surprised various countries are doing this. I think the more interesting thing will be which country works with who to develop these types of systems. Because obviously it's kind of like trade, I guess. If there's one country that's your adversary and another country where you're not having any issues with, but then they partner with them in some way, then obviously that's going to create conflict and all, right? And with that thought, actually, there was interesting news about the platform TikTok, where in the US, they were threatening to ban the platform unless they sold the majority of the company to someone who's in the US, for example, or having all the servers and stuff in the country. And apparently, I guess it's going to go through, as apparently TikTok was sold to a US consortium of various investors, which include Oracle and private equity firms called Silver Lake, and venture capital firms Andreessen Horowitz. And with that too, it doesn't sound like they're going to have 100% ownership. It says they're going to have an 80% stake in it, while the company ByteDance will still have a 20% stake in it, which is kind of interesting there, because some people are saying it should be 100% or nothing in general. And with this, I guess, if everything actually goes through, unless something comes up, apparently people will need to download some new version of the app, I suppose. It'll probably never happen, but I would have been really fascinated to see things like the algorithm, because people often accuse companies of trying to suppress information, or at the same time, they have ways where there's backdoors to send the information elsewhere. So it's kind of interesting if they actually had stuff like that, but I highly doubt we'll ever see that in this case. But does that actually make people more comfortable where it's an 80% ownership for people, I guess, in the US? Because again, some people are saying it should have been 100 or nothing. Okay, and an update in terms of what's going on with the phone is just creating so much chaos for me. I brought it in initially because for some reason the phone just shut off, and I tried to charge it at first because I thought the power just ran out for whatever reason, kind of like dead cells in a battery, but it wouldn't actually stay open. It would actually boot up and then shut down right away. So at first the person told me he thought the issue was just some kind of crack or something like that he could easily solder to get the phone, for example, back up. So I was like, okay, and I left it with him. And so when I went back, he basically showed me it turned on, but then it shut off right away as well, and he didn't know why. So my assumption was there's some kind of software issue, for example, but he was saying he felt it was something else, like the hardware. So even I was kind of in the mindset of, well, is this phone basically done for? Because if you have to do, like, let's just say whole repairs with motherboards and all that, it's going to be like, what, $500 or something like that? Like, you might as well get a new phone. But he basically said he could actually look at it more and basically determine from there what needs to be fixed. And in the meantime, I basically took the SIM card and I basically got another phone temporarily anyways. It's like a cheap one. And boy, is this phone terrible compared to what I'm used to. It's so slow and all that. And unfortunately, I actually can't use like some of my other softwares and apps because this thing is so low end. And so when I went back, I basically was just wondering if he learned anything. And at the moment, he's like, oh no, it might be a write-off because it doesn't sound like he knows what's going on with it. So I basically left it with him at the moment, and he will contact me again tomorrow to see what he finds anyways. This is the kind of stuff I would love to do myself. I just don't have all the tools and so forth to actually diagnose it and all that. But that's terrible if I need to replace that phone just like that. I've been having issues with this one too. First it was that screen just last year, and now this, it just randomly closes. Even with the thermal camera, actually, that's what I usually use for my thermal camera. So I'll have to test it out, I guess, when I get home tonight to see if I can just use it on this one temporarily. But I'm thinking maybe I'll have to get a new phone, unfortunately. If it was me, I'd rather be waiting until next year when they have things like what, the CES and so forth, where they have all the newer stuff out. All right, see you guys later.